Hey everybody, it's me, Terry Flyers Guy, and in today's video, I'm going to be discussing another past Philadelphia Flyers season. In my last video, I talked about the 2011, 2012, 2010. In my last video, I talked about the 2010, 2011 Philadelphia Flyers. In the 2011 off-season, the Philadelphia Flyers parted ways with Mike Richards and Jeff Carter. It was time for a change. Many fans were shocked by this. Many fans were really disappointed in the efforts of Mike Richards and Jeff Carter in the 2011 Stanley Cup playoffs. That year, the Philadelphia Flyers signed some new players. Players like Jake Voracek, Wayne Simmons, Max Talbot, and here's the kicker: Hall of Fame player and Stanley Cup champion, multi-time Stanley Cup champion, Jaromir Jagr, signed as a free agent, signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. That was a shockwave that was one of the biggest signings the Flyers have ever had. With Jaromir Jagr, brought a lot of skill and leadership to the hockey team that year. I think this was the year that Claude Giroux was named captain. Along with Claude Giroux, Danny Briere, and many different players, this Flyers team surprised a lot of people. Even though Mike Richards and Jeff Carter were gone, the Philadelphia Flyers upgraded their team. They were still led by defenseman Andre Nazareth and defenseman Chris Pronger. Flyers season started out with Matt. Jaromir Jagr impressed a lot of people. And so, well, Jaromir Jagr has always been impressive. The Philadelphia grew to love the man with the mullet, as Jaromir Jagr had a great season. Him and Claude Giroux, I would have done it this year. As Jaromir Jagr was good at setting up goals for Claude Giroux. With Jaromir Jagr and Claude Giroux's teammates, it made Claude Giroux a better player. Late in the season, the Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Chris Pronger went down to injury. Went down to a serious eye injury that resulted in a concussion. He was out for several days, and the timeline of his return was unknown. That year, the Flyers would host their first ever Winter Classic, as they would face off against the New York Rangers on New Year's Day at Citizens Bank Park, as they would face off against the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers gave the Flyers a run for their money that year. But the Flyers, they carried on and made it into the 2012 Stanley Cup playoffs. The team was pumped up for the first opponent. And their opponent to be the Pittsburgh Penguins, a team that beat the Flyers in the 2008 Stanley Cup Finals and in the 2009 Stanley Cup Quarterfinals. The Philadelphia Flyers were looking to get some payback on the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Flyers and Penguins faced off. Before the playoffs can officially begin, the Philadelphia Flyers had a game against the Penguins late in the season. Well, not the first time they were playing late in the season. There were 2 games late in the season against the Pittsburgh Penguins. One game that ended up in an all-out brawl as the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers had a bit of a tussle at the end of the game. This would set up for a huge playoff matchup between the Philadelphia Flyers and their Keystone rivals, the Pittsburgh Penguins. In Game 1, the Flyers were down early. They came from behind to come back and win the game in overtime. It was Shea Voracek who got the overtime game-winning goal. In Game 2, the Flyers were down again, and they came from behind to beat the Penguins again. In that game, Sean Couturier and Claude Giroux got the most points, and I get younger out of his stats as well. It's the Philadelphia Flyers beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 8-6. Going back to Philly, it was the Philadelphia Flyers onslaught as the Flyers dominated the Pittsburgh Penguins with a huge win in Game 3. Flyers had a huge 3-0 stranglehold over the series. It was the Penguins who came back in Game 4, giving the Flyers a devastating 10-4 loss. In Game 5, the Pittsburgh Flyers had a close game. It was the Penguins who got the victory. They got the series 3-2. The game went back. The series went back into Philly for Game 6. And it was Claude Giroux that got it started. As Claude Giroux took a big hit on Sidney Crosby. After the hit, it was Claude Giroux that scored the first goal for the Philadelphia Flyers. After that, Philadelphia Flyers scored. Philadelphia Flyers got the victory, and the Flyers advanced to the 2012 Eastern Conference semifinals as they faced off with the New Jersey Devils. Me and my dad went to the first game of that series. It was a very close game. We ended up going into overtime. Briere had scored the first time Briere tried to score a goal. The goal was waved off to his goaltender interference. But Danny Briere scored once again, and this time the goal counted as the Philadelphia Flyers defeated the New Jersey Devils in Game 1. That was the only victory the Philadelphia Flyers had in that series, as they were eliminated by the New Jersey Devils, defeating the Flyers 4-1 to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals to face off against the LA Kings. That year, the Flyers were officially eliminated from the playoffs. A season of excitement, a season of intrigue, turned into a season of heartbreak. Although the Flyers in the previous series against the Pittsburgh Penguins, the New Jersey Devils. Delta Flyers, Delta Flyers devastating elimination. After the season, in the summer of 2012, it was announced that the NHL would have a league-wide lockout. Flyers season officially came to an end. In the summer, there would be a league-wide lockout. The Flyers did not start their next season until 2013. But the Flyers had an abysmal record and a very tough exit that season. But it was a memorable season. It was the season where the Flyers acquired a Hall of Famer. It was the season where the Philadelphia Flyers. It was a season of passion, a season of determination, and a season that many fans will always remember. Especially since they eliminated the Pittsburgh Penguins from the playoffs. That's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. Well, guys, thank you for joining me here on this video. I'll see you guys next time. In my next video, I'll be going back in time, because I will be discussing the 1994-1995 Philadelphia Flyers season.